Hey, this is Seth, and in this video, I want to share with you a career that pays as much as $125,000 a year in entry-level roles with no degree required. Now, I know this sounds crazy, so crazy that it's actually been on the news many times over the past couple of years because there is a major shortage of skilled workers that can do this job.
They are dying for members, and those jobs pay six figures right out of the gate.
Now, these are real jobs with real salaries, but this is a very challenging job. It's very intense. I'm not going to start this video by saying, oh, it's so easy, anybody can do it. No, it is very challenging, and that's why it pays so well. But it is achievable if you have the right personality type and drive. And I'm going to explain all that in this video. I'm going to tell you what this job is, why it pays so well, why there's been a shortage, and how you can get trained to be certified to do this job, and what the future of this field looks like in the age of artificial intelligence. But before I do that, please remember, if you like this content, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you're always notified when I post more useful content. So what is this career? It's being an official court reporter, or as it's also known, a stenographer. Every year, there are millions of legal proceedings in the United States on the federal level, the state level, the local level, and this can include a hearing, deposition, or a trial. And every time there's a legal proceeding, there needs to be an official record. And a court reporter's job is to create a verbatim record of everything that is said during one of these proceedings, a real-time, on-the-fly account of everything that everybody is saying. You may have seen court reporters if you've been in court, but more likely on your favorite TV show or in movies. There's actually a really funny scene in the show The Office. The episode is called The Deposition, and you can see in the scene where Michael Scott says some silly things, and then the court reporter is called upon to read those things back.
Can you go back to where this digression began?
Mr. Schneider, and you were directly under her the entire time. Mr. Scott, that's what she said.
Now that's a funny example, but this is what happens every day in depositions and in courtrooms across the country. Also, similar to the notary position I described in a previous video, the court reporter is actually the official certified representative of the state that says this is the official record. Because the prosecutor, the defense have their own agendas, you need to have an objective third party who's basically like, I say it's like in a football game, you have the actual broadcast of the game from start to finish, 4 hours long. You see everything that happened, the boring parts, the exciting parts, and that's kind of like the court record. Versus you couldn't have one of the teams put together a highlight reel because that would be very, very biased. There needs to be an objective third party who is responsible for saying, hey, this is objectively what happened during the court proceeding. Even though this is a very important, well-paid, and secure job, it is suffering a major shortage of skilled workers. Now, why is that? Number one, the existing court reporters are retiring. Most court reporters are in their 50s and even 60s, and they've reached retirement age. So all of these jobs are opening up, but there's not enough people to replace them because, as you know from watching my channel, society has told every high school student that they need to go get a bachelor's degree in philosophy, history, gender studies, something irrelevant and esoteric that is not a trade skill of any value. And what's happening is you have millions of people going to get their bachelor's degree and nobody knows about this skilled trade. The result is there are thousands of job openings and freelance opportunities in this field that are still unfilled. And it's actually created a crisis in the legal system because there are many court proceedings that do not have court reporters available to make an accurate record of what's happening. So many states are paying a premium to people who have the basic training and ability to do this job and no experience.
So if you look at federal reporters, state reporters that are working in the state judicial system or the federal judicial system, they are dying for members, and those jobs pay six figures right out of the gate.
Here is an example of a job posting in California. You can see the pay is over $100,000 and there's no mention of years experience or anything like that. It's all about, are you certified and can you actually do this job? This job posting from the US House of Representatives pays $150,000 a year. This is a very high level job, very intense. It requires security clearance, but look at the job description again. No mention of years of experience because they know that the people who have all those years of experience are retiring. They are willing to hire people who have just been trained in this, are very fresh, but they have the skills and ability to do the job. Now, stenographers can work for the courts, or they can freelance, which allows them a lot more flexibility and potential earning power. This is a CNBC article about a stenographer who earns over $200,000 a year, mostly through freelancing. There is a YouTuber named Chloe Salazar who is a freelance stenographer, and she's one of the younger stenographers out there. She has a YouTube channel. I would suggest checking it out. She talks about what it's like to be a freelance court reporter, what the pay is like, what the lifestyle is like, things like that. There's another YouTuber named OK Cat who does the same thing, and it's very, very interesting. But stenographers are not limited to the legal profession. You can also get a job doing live captioning for live events or helping to caption things for hard of hearing individuals. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a minute. So that was the good news. Now I have to give you the bad news.
No! God, please, no! No!
And the bad news is that this job is very, very difficult to do. It's incredibly challenging. Essentially, you are typing the equivalent of 200 words per minute in real time. You could be in a busy courtroom where people are yelling over each other and you have to keep track of who's talking. Someone might have a thick or heavy accent. You may not be able to hear people and have to ask them to speak up. But most of all, you are 100% focused the entire time on what is happening. You are responsible for the court record. So you have to be there, present the entire time for everything that's happening, the boring stuff, the exciting stuff, typing the whole time. So this can be physically intense, can be mentally intense, and it requires 100% focus. You can't stop to check your phone. You got to be there listening to everything that's happening. To me, it sounds almost like a professional sport or like the Amazing Race of clerical work. It's very, very intense. Now, some people have a personality type for that. If you're the type of person who would rather, take a coffee break and relax during your day, this is not for you. This is for someone that's more like high energy, type A type person. On top of that, you are a participant in the legal proceedings, which is actually very exciting for some people. It might be daunting for other people. If you can't hear someone, you have to say, hey, stop, slow down. You need to repeat that. You may be, again, you're called upon in the middle of a trial to read something back. You have to be able to access your notes. But the main thing is this ability to type that quickly is something that requires training on a machine that's called a stenography machine. So the stenography machine is pretty interesting, in my opinion. It has a special keyboard with fewer keys than a regular keyboard, and it allows the stenographer to input a kind of code. By pressing certain combinations of the keys, it doesn't type out every letter of every word that somebody is speaking, but there is a code used for sounds and phrases and words that allow the stenographer to essentially type out words in real time. Now, I didn't understand the theory of this until I saw it, so I'm going to show you a clip from a YouTube video of somebody actually using this machine.
This is what it looks like to write with stenography. Stenography is a method of text input that allows one to write at conversational speeds. It is primarily used in live captioning and court reporting. Contrary to typing where one key press outputs one letter, steno uses a chorded keyboard where multiple keys are pressed down. The action of pressing down one or more keys is called a stroke. A stroke is also the name for the group of keys that are pressed down. Each stroke can output parts of a word, entire words, or even phrases. Because of this, your fingers aren't moving very fast when compared to typing. As you can see, I can easily keep up with what I am saying, and my fingers aren't moving all over the place, as one might expect with really fast typists.
Learning to use this machine takes about 2 years because you are basically learning what is essentially a new language and practicing it to make sure that you are accurate. So how do you learn it? The National Association of Court Reporters has a list of accredited schools that teach stenography, and I would recommend checking out these programs. There's certification programs and also associate degree programs. In my opinion, I would skip the associate degree programs because there's really no point in taking liberal arts classes along with this skill set. You need to spend all your time and energy learning how to master this machine and just practicing and practicing so you get faster and faster and better at it, because as soon as you can actually do it and pass the certification exam, then you are ready to get jobs. You will also be learning legal terminology so that you can understand what attorneys and judges are talking about and certain other things that go along with, courtroom etiquette, things like that. These programs can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 or $25,000. They take about 2 years, and you do have to purchase your own stenography machine, which costs about $4,000. Now, the good news is this type of a program, you can get a student loan. There are a lot of grants and incentives available because of this shortage. But I like to say to people, look, There are 18-year-olds right now taking out $50,000 or $60,000 in student loans to pay for a history degree that is going to get them a job at Starbucks. So by comparison, this seems like a much smarter investment because when you graduate, you will more than likely have a job or a gig waiting for you.
To get work is easy in the sense of like you're gonna get bombarded with people needing court reporters, whether in court or not. I obviously knew I wanted to do deposition freelance, and so I think I started getting emails as soon as I passed.
Stenography school has a very high dropout rate because, again, it is very challenging. So you definitely want to research this, look into it on your own. Check out those YouTubers I mentioned, Chloe Salazar and OK Cat, because they give you kind of, again, a real world experiences like doing this job. They talk about what it was like learning it. They talk about the machine. And once you get out there into the internet, you're going to see a lot of different opinions and experiences, but you can get a more three-dimensional view of what it's like. By the way, I think that this is a great opportunity, but if you're interested in another opportunity that is digitally based, has the opportunity for remote work, and doesn't require 2 years of training, I would suggest digital marketing. That is what I have been teaching since 2016. I've helped thousands of people get jobs with no previous experience or education. It is a fast-growing field, and there is also a major lack of skilled workers in this field because thanks to colleges, all of the marketing majors who are studying marketing, they are not even learning digital, even though it is a $600 billion a year industry. So if you want to learn more about how it's possible to get a job in digital marketing, a remote job with no previous experience or education, click the link below to check out my free masterclass on this topic. And you can also check out on my YouTube channel, I have testimonials from my students all over the place. This is my main passion, the main thing that I teach, and there's so many exciting opportunities in this field. I love teaching people about all the different opportunities that are out there because it's never talked about in school, but digital marketing is definitely something you want to consider. So if that interests you, click the link below and I'll get back to this video. But before I end this video, I want to address the big question that I'm sure is in a lot of people's minds, which is digital and AI. I'm sure you may have wondered at some point, why doesn't somebody just record the court proceedings on their iPhone or with some other digital technology? Wouldn't that make everything a lot easier? And the answer is yes and no. This is a big debate right now within the legal community because there are pros and cons of using digital technology versus a stenographer. You're gonna see, if you Google this question of digital versus stenography, you're gonna see articles on both sides. What's really funny is you're gonna see some article that says, digital is the future, AI is taking over, stenography is outdated. And 99% of the time, those articles are written on blogs published by AI companies or digital companies that have a vested interest in their technology. By the same token, you'll see other articles that say, hey, human stenographers are going to be around forever. You can never replace the human judgment, the human mind. And those are usually written by organizations that have a vested interest in keeping stenography going. So you're going to see this on both sides and you have to make a call on what you think the reality is. My opinion is this. Stenographers are going to continue to be in demand for the next several years. It's possible that in 10 years or 20 years, things may radically change, but I don't think in the next 5 to 10 years, all these stenography jobs are going to go out the window. The highest courts, the US House of Representatives, these places, they want a human being who can interact with the prosecutor and the defense and the judge, read things back, be available, and have a real-time transcription. I think this is still going to be very much in demand. The people who are freelancing are making a lot of money because there's so much work to do. And AI technology will continue to evolve, and it's gotten very, very good at voice-to-text technology, but it's not perfect. And it has to deal with things like people talking over each other, the quality of the audio, microphone placement. Heavy accents is also a big issue. There was a study done last year that said basically people who were like minorities who were speaking into AI software didn't recognize what they were saying 50% of the time. These are all kinks that they could be worked out, but when you couple that with the fact that the legal system and the government moves very slowly, and the fact that at the end of the day, people really do want stenographers, human beings, as part of this process, I think it's still something that's good to at least investigate into this field. By the same token, if you don't feel that way, if you're concerned that AI or digital is going to take over, then you can look into becoming a digital court reporter. Now, there is a trade-off. It doesn't pay as much, but again, the training isn't as rigorous. You can be trained to be a digital court reporter relatively quickly because you're really, again, you're just doing AV plus some note taking. You're not typing 200 words per minute. So it's not as intense, but the pay isn't as much, but there is still a big demand for this as well. At the end of the day, guys, I'm just trying to give you some ideas and point you in the right direction. Definitely go to the National Association of Court Reporters and do your own research to find out more about these opportunities. And as you may know, I've been teaching to people to get jobs in digital marketing since 2016. This is a field that is also in demand, that is continuing to grow, that is adapting with AI. There will continue to be jobs in digital marketing, PPC, SEO, paid social analytics, and they're going to continue to grow over time. And I've helped thousands of people get jobs in digital marketing since 2016 with no previous experience or education. You don't need to spend 2 years in school to get trained, or you don't even need to be certified by any school to get a job in this field. You just need to be able to do the work and provide results for companies. And if you want to learn more about that skill set, please check out my free webinar by clicking the link below. The webinar is called How to Get a $60K a Year Remote Job with No Previous Experience or Education. Check out some testimonials from some of my other students, and whatever you decide to do, whatever skill path you pursue, whatever skill you pursue, I do wish you the very best. Please feel free to leave comments or questions below, and I will see you in the next video.